Hey everyone, welcome to this video where we're going to look at the basics we need to know for the GCSE exam about mental health. What you need to know for this section of the exam are the characteristics of mental health, what is happening to mental health problems and why this is happening, and the effects that mental health problems are having on people and on society. So let's get started. The first thing we need to know are the key characteristics of mental health. So when we talk about the characteristics of mental health, we are normally talking about what a normal, healthy person who is not struggling with their mental health, what can they do? And you often get a question that can throw a lot of people. It normally just says, identify a characteristic of mental health. It's a quite strangely worded question, but you essentially just need to be able to refer to one of these things. These 8 things that a normal, healthy person who is not struggling, what can they do? And they are: do not get overcome with difficult feelings. They have good relationships with other people. They can deal with disappointments and problems, so if something doesn't go their way, it doesn't affect them. They can cope with the stress of everyday life. They can cope with challenges. They can make decisions in life. They can function as part of society. That means they're going to work and getting out of bed and things like that. And they can have a positive engagement with society. So if you have normal, healthy, normal, positive mental health, you will be able to do these 8 things. If you are struggling and you have a mental health problem, you will be affected on some of these 8 characteristics. So if this is what good mental health looks like, what exactly is a mental health problem, which is what this entire topic is really all about? Well, a mental health problem, which I'll shorten to MHP throughout a lot of these videos, is essentially a diagnosable condition where a person's thoughts, feelings and behaviours change and they're less able to cope and function within society. So things that you have to know about include depression and addiction, but there are lots more, things like OCD, things like schizophrenia, split personalities, all those things that I'm sure you've heard of. Now, what's interesting about mental health problems, and it is worth knowing for the exam, is that some mental health problems will vary across different cultures. And we know in psychology, if something is not universal, if it varies over the cultures, there's only one reason for that, and that is because that psychological problem could well be learned. So it's not an innate problem, and it might not be a biological problem. It could be a psychological learned problem, and that is worth knowing for the exam. Okay, so we know what good mental health looks like. We know that we've got a definition of mental health problems there. The next thing that you need to know is what is happening to mental health problems and why is it happening? Well, the answer is simple. Mental health problems are on the increase, and you could get asked why? Why are they on the increase? And there's 3 main reasons. The first reason is due to overpopulation. So basically the entire world is increasing in population, and living in larger, busier areas can lead to an overactive amygdala, and that's a brain area that is often associated with sort of our mental health and processing things. So if it's overactive, it could be causing issues for our mental health. The second one is that there's been an increase in loneliness and isolation. This is because many more people are living alone. That might be for work, it's because divorces have increased, people leave their families to go and do education, but also because of the massive increase in technology. People aren't meeting up anymore, they don't have to, they can text each other and instant message people, and they don't have to meet up, so loneliness and isolation has increased massively. And you can also see the impact of that after COVID and lockdowns and spending 18 months on our own. Mental health problems have shot up again as a result of that loneliness and isolation. And finally, why are mental health problems increasing? Well, we recognise them better, and we have a huge change of criteria into what it takes to have a mental health problem. We've changed the expectations, we've changed or we understand now more what the symptoms are, and there's much less stigma about it, so people aren't ashamed to come forward and say they've got one. So this has obviously led to an increase in statistics as well. The final thing you need to know are the main effects of mental health problems, and in short there are two main things that you need to know for your GCSE. They are that mental health problems can have individual effects and social effects, and we'll just quickly run through what those are now. So individual effects are things that can affect the individual from doing things themselves, or have an impact on the person who has a mental health problem. The first one is that it can damage their relationships. That is what it says, isn't it? You know, you will struggle to maintain friendships and family relationships and boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. And that could be because you don't talk as much, because you shut yourself away, and that will cause a breakdown in different relationships. The individual will have difficulties coping every day. So the mental health problem could be giving them issues with their sleeping, it could reduce their energy, it could give them poor concentration, and the knock-on effect to this is that they might end up losing their job. They might struggle to have that positive mindset and really motivate themselves. And finally, the individual will have a negative impact on their own physical well-being. So because you are struggling with your eating, it's going to have a massive change on your weight. Could be weight loss, could be weight gain, depends how the mental health problem is affecting you. And because of the other impacts, lack of sleep or lack of food or vice versa it could create an increase in illnesses. So again, we're going to see a negative impact on that person's physical well-being. Secondly, the mental health problems can have social effects, which means that they can affect society in different ways. And the main ways they affect society are, firstly, the need for more social care. So with a larger increase in mental health problems, we need more money to support people, how to teach themselves to look after themselves, and how to care for each other. So we need more social care. So we need to think about how we're going to sort that out. There's been an increase in crime rates as a result of an increase in mental health problems. Again, I always say, this doesn't mean that having a mental health problem means that you will be a criminal. It's just a correlational link. We know that correlations have their own issues, but there is a correlation there, and it is something that you need to be aware of for the exam. And finally, there can be huge implications for the economy wrong there. So that will be the government needing to think closely and carefully about how they're spending their money. They will have to spend more money on supporting mental health problems, more money on the hospitals and therapy and psychiatrists, counselling, all these sort of support agencies that really help people with their mental health problems. So a big impact on society. So a quick summary of that section for you from this video, and we've covered the characteristics of mental health, what's happening to mental health problems and why, and the effects of mental health problems on both the individual and society. For now, guys, make sure you've covered this stuff quite confidently, and I'll see you in the next video.